Hey everybody, it's Dr. Coty with Adjusted Health, and I just wanted to do a follow-up video for those of you who are curious about our last week's video. So I talked to you about stress management, and I told you that it could happen in many different forms. We can do things like go to bed at a regular time, have good sleep hygiene, we can eat healthier, we can exercise, we can practice meditation. And then I mentioned a word, it's called adaptogens, and I didn't really get into what it is, and so that's what I want to do in this video here. So I want to first kind of just explain to you what stress is like. I want you to think of stress essentially like a bank account. And I want you to think of the different types of transactions that happen in a bank account can pretty much be broken down into deposits and withdrawals. So things that are going to make withdrawals on your stress bank account are things like skipping workouts, eating poorly, putting toxins in your body, just different running the rat race every day of work. These are the to add to a positive balance in your stress bank account. I already mentioned some of them, but adaptogens are another way to do that. And so adaptogens are herbs that have phytonutrients in them that have been scientifically proven to reduce stress. And by reducing stress, it realistically what it means is that it's putting the body in a more homeostatic manner so that it is capable of dealing with the stress. Now, there's a ton of different adaptogens, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of a few of them that are my favorite. And then we're going to take it slow and we're going to give you one each week for the next 5 weeks. And we're just going to explain to you what it is that each of these adaptogens do. So, the easiest way to remember this is what's called a GEARS acronym. And the G stands for ginseng. Korean type is the one that we're going to be referencing today. There's also American ginseng and some other variations. Those are two of the more common ones that we find. The rest of the acronym, so that's GEARS, that's the G. There's E for eleuthero. There's A for ashwagandha, R for rhodiola, and then the S is schisandra. And these here are kind of an all-encompassing set of adaptogens that help us to deal with different forms of stress. So some of these may help us to deal with more mental fatigue. Some will help with more physical exertion and stresses that we place on our bodies. And that's one we'll talk about next week. But again, for today, I want to talk about ginseng. So ginseng's a really interesting herb. It has been kind of classified as the king of all herbs. And the reason is because here in America, it's so funny. When somebody gets over the age of 40, they pretty much get put on a statin or a medication that's going to help them with their cholesterol. And however, in Eastern countries, what we see is that a lot of times they're actually given ginseng, Korean ginseng. And the reason is because Korean ginseng has been shown to have significant benefits in a ton of different ways. So I told you that it's an adaptogen. Things that it also does is it's also an antioxidant. So everyone thinks of antioxidant as dealing with just your immune system and helping with your overall health, keep you from getting sick. While it does do that, it also helps with the removal of free radicals in our system, which can lead to other pathogenic processes. It's also antispasmodic. So what that means is, like everyone thinks of spastic muscles, but it can also help with things like heart tone, cardio tone. So it has been shown that it can decrease our blood pressure, and I'll go over that here in just a little bit. It is an aphrodisiac. Can be used as a diuretic. So it can obviously it can help to remove excess fluid. So a lot of times diabetic patients are put on medications that help them to essentially urinate more frequently, which lowers their overall volume in their system and then therefore helps to lower their blood pressure. So this can work in a similar fashion. It's also hepatoprotective, and by hepato I mean liver. So it protects our liver, which the liver is super important. So we always say that there's 2,000 functions that the liver does that we know about, and there's probably at least another 2,000 functions that it does that we don't know about. So it acts as the master filtration system for our entire body. It helps to remove all of the toxins that we have. So obviously we want to protect that, and this does a great job with that. I talked about it as an antioxidant. It does help with the immune system. But then on top of that, in Eastern medicine, they kind of classify these different herbs into a couple different forms. One would be a cooling action. That would be more of the American ginseng. And by cooling, what I mean is that it's like more of a calming effect. Whenever we look at Korean or Chinese ginseng, it's more known as a warming effect. And by being a warming effect, what I mean is that it can be more of a lifter, and it can help to stimulate the nervous system a little bit. So some people will state that it does give them a little bit of an energy boost. So the last thing that I'd like to touch on is that when you're coming across herbs, you want to make sure that you're getting good quality. And this can be really problematic in America. And I'm not going to name any big chain stores but I want you to think of your wholesalers. And the problem is that what we're running into is that these companies, whenever third party companies and laboratories are doing tests on their products, turmeric, for instance, they tested 12 of the largest distributors and manufacturers of turmeric in the nation. And they found that 9 out of 12 of them had 50% less turmeric than what was advertised on the bottle. They also found that 3 of the 12 had gross contamination of insects. So the point is that whenever you're coming across these supplements, in order to actually have these effects that is proven through science, you need to actually make sure that you're getting good quality supplements. And in order to do this, you need to go to reputable companies. And I'm not necessarily referencing what store to go to, but most of the time you're going to need to go through a doctor or some other type of provider that's going to give you access to a higher quality of supplement. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is just the first in our series of the GEARS acronym, where today we talked about Korean ginseng. Next week, we're going to talk about eleuthero, followed by ashwagandha, rhodiola, and schisandra. We don't just do videos on adaptogens, we do it on all aspects of health and wellness. So give us a follow below if you enjoyed this video or you're just excited to hear about more adaptogens. And as the weeks go on, we're going to continue to post information on some basic fitness, basic nutrition, and things that you can do to really enrich your life. We're looking for small changes that make the greatest impact in our lives. Or you can leave your questions and comments in the comments below. And lastly, you can go to our website. It's listed in the description, and you can submit a contact us form, and we would love to do our best to help you out in any way that we can. So again, I appreciate your time, and stay healthy.